The court heard the man made no reply after being cautioned. There was no objection to bail today, and he's due back in court next month. He has yet to indicate a plea, but the Director of Public Prosecutions has directed trial by indictment, which means he'll be tried before a judge and jury at Dublin Circuit Criminal Court if he decides to contest the allegations. Frank Graney at Dublin District Court.
The government is reluctant to introduce price caps on energy, according to the Taoiseach. A number of opposition parties have called for caps on both energy and some essential goods. Government ministers will finalise a new package of cost of living supports next week, but Leo Varadkar signalled a price cap is unlikely to be among them.
Reluctant to introduce price caps, Deputy, really for two reasons. First of all, they're very hard to cost. Essentially, if you put in a price cap, the government says this is the cap you have to pay, but we'll pay the rest no matter what it is. And even if it's limited and targeted, it's very, very difficult to work out what that would cost, and there's big risks involved in that. It's essentially a contract for a difference. You'll remember that in relation to Anglo-Irish Bank.
A former minister has defended the scale of the St Patrick's Day trips abroad for ministers. The Taoiseach will travel to Washington DC to meet US President Joe Biden. While a total of 44 members of government will visit 74 international cities, including the Attorney General travelling to Argentina and Chile. The former Labour Minister Jed Nash has defended the expense of sending so many ministers abroad.
St Patrick's Day and St Patrick's Week is a unique opportunity for Irish ministers to promote Ireland, to promote job creation, to promote our culture, to promote Ireland more generally. And I think it is very important. And I think we can't underestimate that week is Ireland's opportunity. Look at the opportunities we have, for example, to gain access at the highest levels in the US and elsewhere. I think it's important that it's done. And we support those initiatives. It's very, very important for Ireland.
And that's your news update at 7:02.
News Talk weather.
Thanks to Ryanair. Suffering from the Irish rain? Get summer sun in Italy, Portugal or Spain with Ryanair's low fares.
A dry start to tonight with the rain developing in Atlantic coastal counties, lows of 4 to 7 degrees Celsius. And now you're up to date on News Talk.
The Newsround on Off the Ball.
With Gillette. Start your day in flow with the new Gillette Labs razor with exfoliating bar.
This is News Talk.
Now, welcome along. Brian O'Driscoll with us in studio talking all things Six Nations. That is on the way 7:30. Dan McDonnell with us on a Champions League evening. PSG against Bayern, AC Milan against Spurs on the menu tonight, just after 9 o'clock. And a slight tangent coming at you as well. 53106, the text number. We are at Off the Ball on Twitter. Happy Valentine's all. Mick McCarthy here in studio. Hello.
Happy Valentine's Day to you as well, John.
Anne-Marie, happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. I didn't realise it was Valentine's Day when I agreed to work late. But again, I didn't really have any plans, so it's all good.
Hey, listen, who does make plans on Valentine's Day, really? It's to be ignored, I think, regardless of your situation, no? I always thought as a child...
Ignored fully? Did you not do a
fully.
card?
No, it would be a bit of that.
Surely you got now flowers for your...
No flowers. I always thought as a child, by the way, in school, the way in school, the way they would make you make a Valentine's Day for your mum was kind of, even as a kid, I thought, but that's not what Valentine's Day is for.
Yeah.
Even then, I understood it was like a romantic holiday.
So did you refuse?
No, I'm sure I wrote Mum Happy Valentine's Day. Love,
Joe,
etc. And thought,
I just always think of the Simpsons.
I wouldn't have had the word inappropriate in my vernacular, but I would have thought this is strange.
Ralph Wiggum.
Ralph, I choose you. Yeah, iconic.
To Lisa.
No, Lisa gave it to Ralph.
Oh, Lisa gave it to Ralph.
Isn't that it?
His heart breaks, though, isn't that?
Yeah, you can pinpoint the exact moment that his heart breaks. But you see, he takes it as a sign that Lisa is interested in him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is The Simpsons still going?
Apparently so, yeah.
They're still
Couldn't
going.
tell you the last time I sat down and watched an episode. Even the old ones.
It crashed after, what series was it?
About 10 or 11.
10 or 11,
yeah,
everyone says just give up there,
Give up. Even around the time the movie came out.
Oh yeah, it was well past it by then.
It was done. So we've a busy evening. Brian O'Driscoll in studio from 7:30. A slight tangent.
The people wanted it, Joe.
Did they?
You went away for a few weeks. We didn't want to do it without you. And then we didn't have time last week. And
so here we are.
Here we are. The people have spoken.
We're live between 8 and 9. Whatever you want to discuss, we'll get to it between 8 and 9. Lots of emails in as well. And then Dan in after 9 for the football show. PSG, Bayern, AC Milan, Spurs, which is where we're starting on the news round, which is brought to you with Gillette Labs for an effortless finish to your day. So Spurs against AC Milan.
Yes, there is Champions League action tonight. 2 games. Antonio Conte back in Italy to take on AC Milan with Tottenham in the first leg of their last 16 tie. Spurs suffered a huge blow yesterday with midfielder Ben Tanker ruled out for the next 6 months with a knee issue that he picked up in their 4-1 Premier League loss to Leicester City on Saturday. Conte does have a very good record against AC. He's won 10 of the 14 games he's played against them as manager and only lost the once. Kickoff at the San Siro tonight is at 8 o'clock. At the same time, PSG host Bayern Munich.
Yes, I think Messi has been very much patched up for that game against Munich. Updates across the evening. I think Italian football now, I just think Liam Brady. I think much of the country is in that headspace.
Much of Italy. Yeah.
What did I say?
No, much of the country, I'm just joking. I'm about to watch a half an hour of it, Joe, I'll have to be honest. I didn't see it. I've seen clips though, but I haven't seen so much universal acclaim for a piece of Irish history, I suppose. I don't know if that's the right way to describe it, but I feel that there was an appetite there for something on Brady because we've just seen the TV guy for so long now, and I think people needed to be reminded of Liam Brady, one of Ireland's greatest ever players, if not Ireland's greatest ever player.
Yeah.
And that side of him and that history. And then apparently, on this part I haven't seen, the more kind of joyous side of the man himself.
Yeah, they did, I think, what they could only do in this documentary, which is accept early on that the career is too vast to do justice to the Arsenal head of academy days and the TV career. And so they just focused in on his years abroad, particularly in Italy. Man, it just looks like he had a great time.
Yeah.
You know? So I saw someone on Twitter, you know, amidst all the love for the documentary, say that their wife is Italian and she was remarking that he speaks perfect Italian as well. It's not pidgin Italian, it's very, very good Italian. I guess he was there 7 years. And there's some obviously beautiful footage of a beautiful player. I guess the high point for a lot of people would be when he goes to catch up with Tardelli. And I didn't realise they were such good friends.
Yeah.
At one point Brady says, as everyone knows, we're like brothers practically. And so they're reminiscing and that's really nice. And
because he wasn't at any one club all that long.
No.
So it's incredible that he actually made such kind of
good
friends.
friends.
I think the most he was anywhere was 2 years at 2 of the clubs. So the fact that he made such life-altering sort of like friendships and relationships.
Catches up with quite a few of the former teammates and they really do love him and talk about what a great guy he is and beautiful footballer. And Tardelli has this lovely line that, you know, he was... I can't remember if he said frustrating or an enigma or tricky to play against. Anyway, he was saying that it never looked like he was moving particularly fast with the ball. He never, you know, looked fast, and yet you couldn't get near him because he beat you with a feint, and he was so in control. So he was frustrating in that way. He played at his own unique tempo, and that kind of captured the footage you saw. Because Brady never sprinted by anyone, but he sure as hell glided by people, and that was great. I thought and I'd say that I wouldn't think it was overly planned, but he goes back to the Juventus training ground as part of the documentary and ends up having a sit down with Wojciech Szczesny, goalkeeper now for Juventus. And they're just having a cup of coffee chatting. And he starts talking to Brady, reminiscing about Arsenal. And he says, "You were scary though. You were the scary one. You know, Steve Bold was the coach and all the other coaches, but everyone was afraid of you." And Brady sort of half says, "Oh." Isn't shocked, but is a touch, you know, surprised at it. And he's, yeah, you were cold. You were really cold.
He just keeps going.
Yeah. But then redeems it beautifully at the end with, but I'll never forget, you used to give me 20 quid every month phone credit so I could call home. And Brady's like, oh, shush, you shouldn't reveal that. And Szczesny's like, I know, I never paid tax on it. And Szczesny says, I never forgot that though. That meant a lot. So it was one of those nice, there's lots of nice moments in it. There are definitely moments where Tardelli and Brady, and they're just slagging each other, you know, but they just high five a few times during the interview at Tardelli's house. So, you know, if you're a sucker for passage of time and, you know, life is short, and especially when you break it down into different periods of your life, you know, it's very wistful.
I don't mean to sound simplistic or in some ways even stupid, but there's there's something nice, and I found that in the record shop clip that I saw, and I saw a couple of clips that were much the same, of kind of reminding you that people that you see in your head as older were not always that way.
And
he's talking about all his Bob Dylan records, and there's the time when he's singing, the Beatles and stuff, and getting emotional about it, and talking about wanting to be a rock star, and this is the Pink Floyd, and you're like, it's hard to ever imagine Liam Brady, because I've only ever seen him in the old days, clips of playing football. That's almost like a different person.
Yeah.
The person that you got to know was the person you saw on television. And it's almost hard to imagine him ever being that age.
Well, I mean, Pat Nevin, obviously, we all regard as, God, wow, in his heyday, what a cool dude. Brady talked about being at Arsenal and young, and get a few quid in your pocket, and he said, I could buy records every week. He said, I didn't read newspapers, I read NME. That was my Bible. And he said, I saw Dylan a bunch of times. There was a venue in London that had lots of great acts. So, suddenly you see Brady with the long hair, cool gear. He's going to see Dylan and several others of that ilk. And then he's like mercurial for Arsenal. And you're like, oh my God, he really had a moment in London. I wonder if him and Nevin cross paths, I must ask Pat next time if their ears overlap. But it was lovely. It was lovely. And you came away, even just on the basis of the 2 to 3 minutes of the Chesney conversation, thinking, oh, well, you'd love a part 2 on Arsenal head of academy years,
Yeah.
All of that. Lots of people loved it. The Brady doc was class. Why don't we have more of these, wonders Lisa in Dublin?
Because I don't think there's that many characters that we could do it with that would hold that same weight.
Yeah, you don't want to filter it down.
Or that intrigue as well, yeah.
Also, I'd imagine, production-wise, they're pretty difficult and expensive.
Yeah. He held it a lot with his interviews. I guess, I'd say this could have been filmed across a week, a few days here, a few days there. But I get there's one point where he's gone through the Juve team, and obviously they win the league twice and everything, and he's like, him. Yet they all won the '82 World Cup, so it's just great to be in a team that good. So he's of that level. How do we get onto that? Yes, Conte, Italy, Italian football. We'll keep you updated on Champions League across the evening.
The Champions League has come back out of nowhere, I have to say. I don't know if this always happens, but we were watching Merseyside Derby last night, and then suddenly the next night it's Champions League knockout stage is the best time of the football year. It's just upon us.
I think it often blossoms like round 2 of Six Nations. Valentine's week is when we go into sixth gear.
It's sandwiched in between 2 big Premier League fixtures this week as well.
Yeah.
As in Liverpool-Everton last night and City-Arsenal tomorrow.
And it's competing with it tomorrow.
Kind of feels a little bit irrelevant tonight, almost.
Yeah, and even more so tomorrow.
Yeah.
I presume everyone watches City-Arsenal tomorrow.
Over Chelsea, is it?
If it's Chelsea-Dortmund, then yeah.
I think so, yeah. I'm not sure, actually. Because the Champions League has hit me out of nowhere and I'm not prepared for it at all.
This, Anne-Marie, it's your next story. UEFA report into what happened in the Stade de France. Some of the phrases in it jump out. This could have been, as horrific as even the most negative descriptions of that night would tell you.
Yeah, Liverpool have called upon UEFA to fully enact all recommendations to improved spectator safety following the chaos at last year's Champions League final in Paris. An independent report has found failings by European football's governing body and French authorities almost led to a mass fatality catastrophe before the game with Real Madrid. Meanwhile, organisers of next year's Summer Olympics say they've received assurances that those recommendations will be implemented at venues in time for the games in Paris. The recommendations will also be applied during the Rugby World Cup in France later this year.
Yeah, we'll touch on that in a little bit more detail on the football show with Dan after 9. Meanwhile, Guardiola.
Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola has apologised to Steven Gerrard after referencing his slip against Chelsea. He mentioned the former Liverpool captain's error, which happened during the 2014 title race that City then went on to win while defending the club against financial allegations last week. Guardiola says he's ashamed to have brought Gerrard into the debate. He went out of his way ahead of his press conference today to say this.
I apologize to Steven Gerrard for my unnecessary and stupid comments I said the last time about him. He knows how I admire him and his career, what he has done for this country that I am living in a training session. I am training, I am ashamed of myself, what I said, because he doesn't deserve it. I truly believe my comments, what I said, in my previous conference about I defend my club, but I didn't represent my club well, putting his name in this stupid comment. So I apologize. I said to him personally, but like I comment publicly, I have to do it here as well. So I'm so sorry for him, from Alex, his wife, kids, family, because it was stupid.
Oh. What?
Well, I think maybe Pep Guardiola has other things to be possibly ashamed about, or possibly apologise about, or possibly be a little bit less. Like, he brought up Steven Gerrard slipping. It wasn't the end of the world. I mean, that's an over-the-top reaction. He apologised to his wife and kids.
It screamed to me that City told him to apologise.
I don't know.
Like the way he stopped the press conference before it began and said, I have this to say.
No, I have to say, I think you're both being harsh. I think
he's an attention seeker, Joe. And I think that he got attention for that, and now it's like, let's get the other side of it today and make a big deal of this, crying in a press conference because he said Steven Gerrard's name in a throwaway comment.
I wish Gerrard was still in management to get a reaction out of him.
Funny, that's so strange. I mean, isn't it interesting? We all interpret things differently. I thought it was incredibly sincere.
Did you think the initial comment, though, was that bad?
Yeah, I think he used the word needless, and I think it was a needless thing to bring up, and it doesn't upset us overly, but it's like the most traumatic moment of Steven Gerrard's career, and I'd say Pep on reflection thought, well, geez, I'm trying to claim the moral high ground here. Why did I have a dig at Steven Gerrard?
Yeah,
and so
fair.
I think he reflected on it, and I'd say he did reach out to him personally and said, I'm so sorry, like, it was stupid of me to bring it up. And I mean, ashamed, shame is a heavy emotion to carry around. He should cut himself some slack. I thought it was very sincere, and you're like, attention seeking.
I've grown tired of Pep Guardiola's I don't know, his shtick at this stage, I have to say, and I think there is a pattern to it at this stage. So that's me personally. It's interesting, there's different non-Manchester City fan opinions out there.
Yeah. Lads, happy Valentine's to you too, says Kev. Brady documentary, simply beautiful. The opening scene of him singing to John Lennon in the car. I just thought, who is this guy? Yeah. Somebody else says the doc should have been a two-parter. The Jack Charlton letter had me tearing up. Anonymous. Yes, you two wouldn't have seen that part. I won't hit you with the spoiler. It's the finale to the documentary, and it's lovely. Really nice. It's a letter that Jack Charlton wrote to Liam Brady. Worth watching the documentary for that moment alone. So we'll leave Pep Guardiola and move on to Munster Rugby.
They've confirmed that Malachi Fekitoa will depart at the end of the season after just 1 year at the province. So far this campaign, he's made 11 Munster appearances, including 9 starts, playing at inside centre and outside centre. The 30-year-old Tonga native made his Champions Cup debut for the Southern Province against Toulouse last month. Meanwhile, Connacht are set to announce details of next season's coaching ticket imminently, according to Andy Friend. He's set to leave his Director of Rugby role at the Sports Ground at the end of the season for his native Australia. Former defence coach Peter Wilkins has been head coach since the start of the season. Speaking ahead of their URC game with Zebre this week, Friend said that hopefully the announcement will be made this week or early next week.
Okay, we are pretty much done, short and sweet this evening. Anne-Marie, thank you very much.
Thanks, Joe.
Michael, I will see you back for a slight tangent.
So, thank you.
The Newsround on Off the Ball.
With Gillette. Start your day in flow with the new Gillette Labs razor with exfoliating bar.
This is Dr. Georgina Jordan, Head of Emergency Response for Goal. The major earthquake that struck Turkey and Syria has left thousands dead and many more without shelter or safety. Goal teams are on the ground assessing needs and providing support to the already fragile communities affected. But time is of the essence and temperatures tonight are well below freezing. To make a donation or start a fundraiser, please visit goal.ie. That's goal.ie. Thank you.
Did you know